Hi and welcome to Rockin' the Planet with Shane. I am so excited this evening. I have two of my nearest and dearest friends on the show with me, and we'll be talking about their future, their past, their present, whatever. My two distinguished guests are singer, songwriter, producer, performer, you name it, he's done it, Mr. Larry Killip, and a really hot chick. If that's not a clue, what is? She's a girl we all love to love, Judy Donaldson. But before we meet my guests, let's see just who is rocking the planet around the world. Imagine sitting in a local New York bar called the Wonder Bar. You've gone to see a band known as the House Rockers, and after just 3 songs, surprise, surprise, up jumps Bruce Springsteen, guitar in hand, and proceeds to play a 2-hour set with the House Rockers. Bruce has been thrilling music fans around New York these past few weeks, suddenly appearing on stage to jam with Brian Wilson at his New York show, aptly playing Get Around, I Get Around, and he certainly does. Days later, he joined The Who in concert with an amazing rendition of My Generation and Won't Get Fooled Again. Now, Elvis fans are hubba hubba hubba. August the 13th, we're celebrating Elvis with a huge auction of 174 different items. Let's book our tickets now. Amongst the 174 items up for sale, there's a Starburst jumpsuit he wore during his 1973 Las Vegas appearance, expected to fetch between $100,000 and $150,000 US dollars, and his personal 9mm ornately engraved Kerr's handgun, expected to go for the same kind of money. But the bargain has to be one of his guitars, signed by him and his fellow Sun Records stablemates, Jerry Lee Lewis, Johnny Cash, and Carl Perkins. It's going at a bargain price of only $30,000. Wow, he would have been 80 years old this year, Elvis the King. Anyway, enough news for rocking the planet around the world. Here's someone who's been rocking the planet over this side, Mr. Larry Killip, my very special guest.
Hello, Shane. Lovely to see you, man.
Mate.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, thank
About
you.
time you got onto Rockin' the Planet.
It is, in fact, yes.
Yeah, I think you played here last year with another band, but
I
you were
did
in
do something
a minor
with
role.
a band here. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was slightly anonymous
in the
that
background.
one, yes.
Slightly anonymous,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what I
yeah.
like. That's a good name for your new album. Now, you've got so much happening, but first I want to go back just so people get a little history of what you've been up to. You started out, as far as I remember back, in a band called the Zarks. Is that your first
We
band?
did start in the Zarks. My school friends and I started in the Zarks, all at school many years ago. It was through that same era of sort of Hello Sailor coming up from school. We all went to school with the same guys, you know. And
What school was that?
Mount Albert Grammar, actually,
Okay.
was some of them, not all of them, some of them. You know, and then we were a great garage band in those days. We weren't famous, you know. We did all the clubs, we did the Galaxy, we did the main we did the main thing. We practiced in our garage in Asquith Avenue, right where King's Plant Barn is, actually, is where it is. A little shrine. I go past there and I still see the driveway where the garage was. You know.
Great. And all the guys are still around. You're still friends.
They are. They are. We lost one along the way very early on, but yeah, we're
most
all
of the guys
friends,
are still here with us.
we are still very cool. Yeah.
So that was the Zarks. That was your foundation. Now you moved on from there. And did you start writing with the Zarks? Or was
No, we never did. No, but you got to remember in those days, cover bands were the mainstay. You know, that really, you know,
there's still plenty of them.
That was the main thing. But we did all the clubs and that, and then slowly but surely, I sort of got into my own thing because I'd always been writing at home, and I wanted to obviously get that underway. And before you know it, I was doing records in the early 70s. Again, nothing big.
When you say doing records, what, on your own?
45s, yeah.
You were making records?
Yeah.
Recording, and so you set up a recording
studio?
I
I was recording, I did a Shade Smith song, actually, very first of all.
Shade Smith from The Rumour?
From The Rumour, and I did, my own composition was on the B side, and that was my entry in, you know. And then I got to sort of know those kind of people, and instead of doing the nightclubs, I was now in the recording scene, and I met a lot of those people, and really from there I just kept on doing it, bits and pieces. You know, I was always
you took to it like a duck to water. I mean, that's your forte.
And I mean, I got into Happen In, and then I did Studio One. I had a few good little breaks around that time, early 70s.
This is as Larry Killip, solo act.
And then I went to England, actually, and probably kind of lost a bit of momentum there.
Well, we all do, yeah. We
So
all
I came
did that.
back about 15 months later and found that time had moved on. And
What year was that?
74, end of 74 I came back, yeah.
You came back and then you established yourself.
Yeah, and just got into bands again, you know, for a long time, and then we hit the 80s, you know.
And then you hit the 80s, of course, and then Larry and the Ladders. Larry and the Ladders. That's when I came back from England in the 80s. And you had this fantastic band I heard, Larry and the Ladders. Wow.
And we did records too there, you know.
Yeah, and they
again,
were great.
nothing high flying, you know. A lot of bands were doing that. There was a lot of bands, you know.
Good profile. Larry and the Ladders were a very popular band.
Yeah, we worked all around Auckland.
I saw the video on TV.
Yeah,
and
we've
said,
got
"Hey,
stuff
who
on
are these
YouTube.
guys?"
Yeah, you can Google that.
Google it. Google it.
And,
Larry and the Ladders.
It's there, and it was the era of the band The Police, you know, and we were a three-piece, so we were sort of trying to be a bit that way. Yeah.
And then that all sort of gone by the way, and then you've sort of established a living as a musician when you feel like it more so, I think.
Well, I got into recording studios.
And you've got into your studio.
Yeah, and then I started doing jingles and all sorts of things, and whatever it took.
That took over everything. You became a jingle expert, I must say.
Yeah, I was.
I mean, I've been to the studio and you're never away from that desk. I mean...
No, I did do it.
It's a wonder it didn't turn up with you tonight, attached to your back.
Get the garage. You know, all those sort of things, I did, I'm afraid. But all the while, I was also always writing my own material.
Yes, and you worked on that, and you honed it. I mean, you've got some fantastic songs.
I finally got an album out about mid-90s, you know, and then from then I'm on to my fourth one now.
Because I'm a huge fan of yours. The music is just absolutely brilliant. And there's not a lot of music, you know, how you get this emotion. Sometimes you make me want to cry.
Oh, well,
that easy.
It's
nice, not like, and you make me want to laugh, don't worry, but the emotion's in it. You're a very personal writer. You write about
I do actually. You are right there. Just about every song I write, there is something in there that's in my life.
From your life.
I find it hard to just kind of spin them out, you know, which is a shame really, because it would make more money that way. But I get too serious and I have to sort of kind of. Oh, I'm learning. A great song is a song that. Maybe it's something to do with your life, but you make it apply to everybody.
Which it usually does.
And you can, yes.
Everyone goes through the same tortures and the same happy
all
things.
It's sort of like, you know, you used to say to John Lennon, you know, what does the song mean? Well, it means whatever you want it to mean. You know?
Exactly.
You know.
Whatever you take from it.
Yeah.
Now, your latest song, I fell in love with the instant I heard it, as always. It's another gem of Larry Killip's. And it's called...
I Found My Way Back.
Now, is this a personal thing again?
There is a little bit of it in there, yes, but I don't like to go any further than that, because I think in the end it sort of applies in a wider sense.
Well, we're going to let everyone out there take what they can from it. It's a beautiful song. Like I said, I Found My Way Back by Larry Killip.
I found my way back. I nearly got lost. If I hadn't seen the bridge when I did, then I wouldn't have crossed. I found my way back to a human being. So many times when I tried to look, well, I wasn't seeing. Well, I know you tried to help me, but I was full of doubt. I believe in you and everything, so thanks for helping out. You made me lift my game from a whisper to a shout. I found my way back in the nick of time. I had a page full of words all jumbled and they wouldn't rhyme. I found my way back on a big white dove to a girl that I used to know and a thing called love. Well, I know you tried to help me, but I was full of doubt. I believe in you and everything, so thanks for helping out. You made me lift my game from a whisper to a shout.
I Found My Way Back. You certainly did, because that is magnificent. I love that song. You always have a bright acoustic sound on.
I work hard on that, and the great thing is there's no pressure, you know. I don't have to fit to any mould or be trendy. I just do what I do. If you like it, you do. If you don't, that's fine.
I have to ask you though, on your records, You're playing a guitar, obviously.
Yeah.
Are you playing any other instruments?
I'm actually playing the drums on this one too.
Oh,
It's an
now
electronic
that's a
drum
first.
kit, but I'm playing
That's
the
all right.
drums.
You programmed it.
I
and
played
did
the
it?
drums, and I played most of the stuff, in fact, on that one. Yes.
And the keyboards.
Yes,
If
yes.
there's any keyboards on it, as I recall.
There is some strings.
Little strings thing, yeah.
Yeah.
But so you're quite multi-talented. I mean, you sit in the studio all day.
Yes, it's been my studio career. You see, all that goes with it.
Yeah,
really.
it's all
So
sitting
it's
there.
where it's come
I've seen
from.
you in your studio. He's surrounded by keyboards, guitars, and everything else. He just in this little room. He spends his life inventing music. It's crazy.
I
isn't it?
do. I got to get out and
You got to go out and see.
got to go up to the shops every now and again. You know.
Yeah. Isn't it scary? I went out to the shops today.
It can be. I remember a very funny incident once because I was working in Lab Studios, which was situated in Upper Simon Street, in a back alley actually.
I remember the place. Yeah.
And I'd been working away. I thought, I'm getting a bit hungry here. So, and what happened was you'd go out the back door of the lab and you'd sort of land in an alley. Well, I did, nonchalantly zipped out to get my lunch, landed in the alley, only to be surrounded by the police and dogs, you name it. There'd been a bomb scare. They'd vacated the whole area, but they hadn't thought about me, and we both looked at each other and they were going, "Where did you come from?"
It's
and
him.
I'm going, "Where did you come from?"
Good song there.
Where did you come from?
Yeah. Well, who got the bomb?
So that that's a classic of being just so
so
locked
involved
in
what you're doing in the studio. Now, from all the songs that you've written, I mean, I've got to say, I fell in love with this one. It's called Waterfall. And people out there, look it up on YouTube or go out and buy it or on iTunes or whatever. Waterfall by Larry Killip. Now, this song, it just grabbed me. It's got so many, it's very Beatlesque, if I may use that term.
A lot of stuff I do.
It's got a Beatlesque thing about it because there are sounds there that I'd never heard before. Is there anything special about this song that I should know?
Not really, but when I know that when
From your soul?
Well, my partner Sheila and I were at a waterfall, and and it occurred to me, I got a buzz from that. There was something about it, the power of a
You're getting wet.
A power of a really good waterfall is an amazing thing.
Yes, it is. It's amazing.
And there was just something there about it held the secret for this couple that they were a couple that went down to the waterfall to talk about their lives and go through the different aspects and the things that they were unhappy or happy about, and it actually transpires they go their separate ways at the end of this, but this is where they go, to the waterfall, to get through this.
And in the video clip, I know your sons feature in this as well?
My sons, Robin and Gareth, and of course they've both got French wives now, and one of them is,
both living in France?
Marlou and Steph. No, Steph's in France at the moment, and she's they're professional videographers for weddings, and they're just amazing. But
they're lovely boys.
She's her eye and her sense of direction. She directed the clip, and it's just like.
Let's take a look at that clip. Waterfall.
I took my love down to the waterfall. Such a fine sight to see. We talked away some hours making small talk. Then I turned the conversation to me. Said I'm not sure about the way things are. It feels like we're each on a different star. I don't know how I can make it through without you.
Waterfall, what did I tell you? Isn't it? Thanks,
Thank you, Shane.
Man, that is fantastic. Okay, now it's time for my second special guest, and she needs really no introduction because as corny as I can get, let's face it, I've known her just about all my life. She's one half of a dynamic duo called The Chicks. Which half, you say? I'd say one of the best halves. And her name is Judy Donaldson. Let's welcome her to the show. Come on, Judy, come on.
Hi, Shane.
Judy, I love you.
Good to see you.
Lovely to see you. You're looking brilliant. Absolutely lovely.
Thank you.
Resplendent is the word. And we've got 50% of the chicks here. Now look, it's lovely to have you here, and thanks for coming along. I won't dwell on the chicks for too long because I mean that was a huge part of your life. But what were you, 16 years old when you got into the chicks?
Just 16.
As a performer, you were out performing, and it was Peter Poser that saw you. That's the true story. It's mythology now.
It's like a fairy tale.
It is, the fairy tale. And tell me, those early days must have been so exciting as a teenager. Just suddenly you're out there with all the stars and singing on TV shows.
It was. Our legs were like jelly. We had to be pushed on.
It must have been a really enlightenment for the two girls.
It was an eye-opener.
You were from Cumu?
No, we were in Henderson, living in Henderson then, Ohinerau Road.
Yeah.
And yes, and Peter Poser was just sort of a couple of doors down playing his guitar on the deck.
And you heard these dulcet tones coming from across the way.
And we were hiding behind a bush with our friends.
But you wanted to meet him though, didn't you?
Yeah, well...
that was the whole...
Yes, we wanted to go and ask him for his autograph, but we were too scared. So these girls that we were with, I'd really like to see them again now to thank them, but they went up and said, "You've got to hear these girls sing.
Isn't it amazing
they can
how
sing well."
A career started just from that. You were fans, and the next thing you know, you're singing. He suggested you to somebody.
So we sang Tobacco Road and I Don't Want to Spoil the Party, because the Beatles were just started, they were very big. And he backed us on the guitar, and we did all our little actions that I'd worked out, because and it was such a novelty, I suppose.
That sort of dance routine together, because then you had the hucklebuck and things like that, so you were into the dance thing. Then you got your outfits, and who made your outfits?
Sunny Knitwear provided us with the lovely jumpers. That was
the
great.
jumpers and the little tights and the boots, the white boots.
Yes.
See, I remember it vividly.
I know you do.
I do. I
You've got a good memory.
It well. And you girls were such good girls. We all, everyone, I must remember, everybody looked after you. Everyone was worried about the chicks. Now make sure they go to bed and they get in their room and behave themselves. We don't want them to see the sordid carryings on.
No, we had to go. They would. When we were on the Dinah Lee tour, Dinah Lee's manager was given the job of looking after us because Mum was exhausted after Sandy Shore tour, and she said, "Oh no, not again."
Not doing that again.
So he made us go in our room in the hotel and waited till we'd shut the door and locked it behind us, and then we could hear them parting down the hall.
I want to share
every
with everybody
night.
the moment, the time that I met you both, the first time I ever met you, and it should be put on record. The fact is I was in Tauranga and I was with the Pleasers with the Z, the Aussie band. And we'd just done a gig in Tauranga for Trevor Spitz, the drummer of the 4/4s. He'd run a gig there. And he said, "Oh, we'll go to the because you went to a coffee bar in those days. After the gig, you didn't go to a pub or a bar. There was no bars. Right. We went for a coffee. We were really getting out there. And we went to this little coffee bar, and there was the little blonde and the little brunette girl sitting over there. And the Pleasers were all going, "Who are those two girls over there?" And we're all looking, and you'd obviously just done a gig in Tauranga yourself. And so I introduced myself, and we got chatting, and I remember, and then I said, "Well, you girls, you can come in with us. We had a transit van, you know. You can come and join us in our transit van. We'll take you home to Auckland. We're going back now."
I don't think
and
we went.
The chaperone, whoever it was, said, "No bloody way, mate. You're not going home with those long-haired louts."
Well,
and I think you were only, 14 and 15 and 16 or something.
Well, Jim Hiddleton, who was Dinah Lee's manager at the time on the Dinah Lee tour, said he went to the band boys and he said, "You don't touch the chicks." We heard about this later. No wonder everyone stood clear of us like this. But it was very nice that they looked after us like their kid sisters.
You were good girls. You were good girls. I got to say that you were good girls. Now, Judy, right now, you actually are working together with Larry quite often, and it's a wonderful duet, a duo, I should say, because I've seen it live, and I was there the day the first gig you did, and it brought the house down. There wasn't a person on the dance floor. Before that, there were bands, all sorts of bands on. They were sitting around going, "Oh yeah," and you two walked out on that floor and started singing Beatles songs. And your forte, I have to say, is you're just a fantastic harmony singer.
Oh, thank you.
You really learnt your craft with the Chicks. You know, you sang some brilliant harmonies. And it was just so good to see you doing that again with Larry on the Beatles stuff. And I reckon that we're going to get you to do one right now. Now, so would you do me the honour? What's it going to be?
Love Me Do.
Oh, Love Me Do. One of the Beatles first. There you go. What do we call you guys now?
Larry and Judy.
Okay, here's Larry and Judy.
Love me do. You know I love you. I'll always be true. So please, love me do. But love me do. Love me do. You know I love you. I'll always be true. So please, love me do. Love me do. Someone to love. Somebody new. Someone to love. Someone like you. Love me do. You know I love you. I'll always be true. So please, love me do. Love me do.
Homemade harmonica.
Love me do. You know I love you. I'll always be true. So please, love me do. Oh, love me do. Yeah, love me do. Oh, love me do.
Fantastic. Did you guys? You've got to stick together. You've got to do a lot more work together. Fantastic. Love me do. I'm on a high already. Now look, my classic clip this week. I've got to ask you to join me. Now, you know that the Quintickies are #1 for the second week. Now, today, it looks like they're going to be #1 for the third week. 3 weeks in a row in the New Zealand top 40 album charts. That is an achievement by anybody's standards. Fantastic. The Quintickies, way back in the 1960s, early 60s, 61. They're
great.
hitting it home again. I mean, they're not all alive these days, obviously. It's a long time ago. But everyone's celebrating the great music, the Maori show bands.
I think it
you
says
must
a
love
lot
those.
about music in general.
It does in
frankly.
general, yeah.
Yes.
We really want to hear some real music again.
Yeah.
And there aren't many clips of the Quintickies around, but my classic clip we found is from guitar. It's called Guitar Boogie, and it's only the way the Quintickies could play it. And if you look closely, you might see a young Eddie Lowe, around about 8 years old. Classic clip. That is classic.
Oh, wasn't that good? Yeah.
Quinticky's #1 in the charts.
Classic
All right.
Mary show band stuff, man.
Wasn't it? We grew up with that, and as you said before, while the clip was playing, it says a lot about New Zealand music these
Yeah,
days.
it does, I think, you know.
Because people are going out and buying that record in its bucket loads. And before that, I mean, you know...
As time has come around too, you know, we're getting...
Real music.
Yeah, we can start doing these things.
Want some real music.
Yeah.
That's why you're here.
That's
Real
why,
music.
that's what
And
I enjoy
Judy,
doing too.
Real
Yeah.
music. I love this. Now look, I just want to thank you for being here. Obviously, spending the evening with me this evening.
It is a pleasure.
Just going over some good old music and some stuff and performing some great songs. Would you do me the honour of just one more song?
One
before you
more
go
song?
away? Yeah.
Just one more
Please,
song? Yeah.
please.
Oh, please, please.
Yeah.
Please,
Oh,
please, me.
Oh,
Please, please, me.
now there was a
We can
cue
do
if I
that.
ever saw one. Please, please me. They're going to do that for us, yeah. I don't know whether to call them Larry and Judy or Judy and Larry, but anyway, thank you, Judy. I love you.
Thank
Always
you,
will.
Shane.
Thank
And
you,
Larry,
Shane. Thank
I love
you.
you.
A pleasure.
Always will.
Yeah, good man.
And you've done a great job, and keep writing those great songs, because sooner or later you're going to bust open the market and they're going to be putting you on top of the charts.
Yes.
All right.
And I'll be too old to get around, you know.
So will I, but don't worry about it. We're still here. Well, anyway, thanks for joining me here on Rockin' the Planet this week. I'll be back same time, same place next week here on Face. And meanwhile, keep on rocking.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Last night I said these words to my girl. I know you never even tried, girl. Come on, 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 come on. Please, please me, oh yeah, like I please you. You don't need me to show the way, love. Why do I always have to say love? Come on, 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 come on. Please, please me, oh yeah, like I please you. I don't want to sound complaining, but you know there's always rain in my heart. In my heart, I do all the reason with you. It's so hard to reason with you. Oh yeah, why do you make me blue? Last night I said these words to my girl. I know you never even tried, girl. Come on, 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 come on. Please, please me, oh yeah, like I please you. Me, oh yeah, like I please you.